Voter suppression is any effort that prevents or makes it harder for eligible voters to cast a ballot, or an effort that prevents people from registering to vote. The effort could be illegal or legal and hard to notice in some cases. Here are some examples of more known practices that can lead to voter suppression. Here are practices less known to lead to voter suppression. Many people may be familiar with the redrawing of district lines and how it could favor one party over another on election day, but some suppression can be the byproduct of other voting policies. For instance, the purging of voter rolls is meant to keep voter information up to date but can lead to mistakenly dropped eligible voters, causing issues on election day. States have also differed on their handling of restoring voting rights to felons and parolees. In Georgia, for example, you can vote after you have served your sentence. In Florida, ex-convicts can't vote until they fulfill their financial obligations to the government, such as court fines and fees.
We don't want to vote and stay broke.
Strict voter ID laws can also disproportionately impact people of color. Though many agree officials should be able to verify voters' information to ensure they are who they say they are, not everyone has a driver's license or can get one easily. Voter ID laws have sparked legal battles in several states. And voting in 2020 saw many election changes as officials struggled with how to conduct elections safely during the COVID-19 pandemic. With poll workers opting out or calling in sick, some polling locations were closed or changed, and that caused a host of problems, including long lines, the need to travel farther distances, and lack of accessibility. In Kentucky, where polls closed at 6 p.m., one county of more than 600,000 voters had only one polling site open that ended like this. Allegations of voter suppression and mismanagement became the focal point of the gubernatorial campaign in Georgia. In 2018, Stacey Abrams challenged then Secretary of State Brian Kemp, who was also in charge of the election, and accused of systematically deleting voter registrations to manipulate the election in his favor.
As overseer of our state's elections, there is no attempt on your part or your campaign's part to suppress the minority vote that would likely benefit a minority candidate who you are in a statistical dead heat according to recent polls.
Absolutely not.
In 2017, Georgia's exact match law required voters' names on their registration records to perfectly match their names on approved forms of ID. That year, approximately 80% of Georgia voters whose registrations were blocked due to this law were people of color.
Let's be clear. Voter suppression is real. From making it harder to register and stay on the rolls, to moving and closing polling places, to rejecting lawful ballots.
So what can be done? The federal government has tried to alleviate some of these problems in the past. In 1965, the Voting Rights Act was officially passed. It sought to overcome legal barriers at the state and local levels that prevented minorities from exercising their right to vote. Part of it was stripped in 2013 by the Supreme Court, striking down the requirement mandating federal approval before local jurisdictions could change their voting procedures.
Madam Speaker, you have heard me say on occasion that the right to vote is precious, almost sacred. In a democratic society, it is the most powerful, nonviolent instrument or tool that we have.
In 2020, Democrats in the House of Representatives began pushing legislation that would restore that part of the bill. Some states are exploring new election practices such as Sunday voting, expanded absentee ballots, election day holidays, and others.